Hello everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. I am your host, Mark Kelly, and behind the desk today we have producer Andrew and doilies. And it's man, what a crazy week. We're in the middle of May. By the time this podcast comes out, we'll be pretty near the end of May, and we'll be knee deep in winter. And it's cold. We're shooting in the the second full week of May, and it's chilly. It's 3 duvet nights. It's turn on your heat pump if you've got it, and get out some extra blankets because it is chill at the moment. A funny story though. I read an article today. Apparently there was snow in Auckland. Go figure. What the hell? Yep, snow in Auckland. That's right, it's cold. It's winter. But anyway, I digress. We're here today to talk about, cutting to my camera, Rachel Diamond. Now, this was a really interesting and unique podcast, a really interesting conversation. I say that for a few different reasons. Like a lot of our guests that come in, they do the pre-interview form, so I get to learn a little bit about them through that. And then beforehand, we kind of have a bit of a sit-down. It's an opportunity for me to get to know them to get to know me, so they can kind of get a feel for what's going to happen. Rachel knew producer Andrew, and they kind of, as she sort of said, they kind of just sort of floated along. We were always like, hey, what's up? And but they'd never really gotten to know each other as friends and people. So when Rachel sent her pre-interview form through, she was very gracious enough to send through a 3-page bio as well. And that's not vain or narcissistic or anything along those lines. What it was is super prepared. And it was really, really cool. So I got this bio, sat down and read it, and I was like, okay, so Rachel is a singer, musician, but she's also started moving into musical theatre, burlesque, dancing, but modelling. Didn't know that. Holy shit. Unbelievable. What an absolutely... Her journey and her whole story is unlike anything. Well, no. Producer and I, Andrew and I, were talking about it before. There's probably 1 or 2 other podcasts that we've had where we sit down and, we sit down with a guest and we're like, holy shit, wow, okay. And for me, this was another one of those podcasts. So tell you what, let's get into it. Let's sit down and have a conversation with Rachel Diamond. Andrew's on
You'll
the money.
You'll pick up a fart in this too, eh?
He will. And we're off.
Honestly, I know people like to have their image and things, but
yeah,
I am who I am. I'm never going to change that.
And who you are is Rachel Diamond.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for joining the Northland Artists Conversation. I can't believe we've got to do this intro again.
Yeah, it's fine.
So for those of you that are watching or listening, we unfortunately had a technical error, which is an ID10T error. He gets the joke. And we unfortunately had to restart the podcast. So I want to thank you for being so accommodating with us.
Hashtag practice.
Yeah. Hashtag. I'm too old for this shit. You are someone who's going to be probably one of the more unique guests that we have on. You do singing, you do dancing. There's also an email that came out today that's very, very cool that you said to Marino, and so we're going to talk about that, I think, because I think that's wicked. Yeah. But it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. There was some challenging challenging times. And what I always like to do with each guest is sort of figure out where they come from, because we all have an origin story. You know, Batman does, Iron Man does, love those guys. So Rachel Diamond, your origin story obviously starts off as Dancing Queen. And who gave you the Dancing Queen nickname?
My grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, she taught me a lot too about sewing and all sorts of things when I was younger. But yeah, I didn't know about that name until not long ago. It was like a year that she
Wow.
a year ago that she told me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool to find out that, you know, from such a young age you've already got this like these talents, these abilities that have been growing since you were like born.
Yeah.
That you didn't even know about.
You know, and I think some people have them right from the word go. Some of our guests have found their creative expression quite late in life. Some of them, it's kind of almost like they dance their way out of the womb and go, I'm here! And they're already singing show tunes. For you, what was the first... You know, for some people it's a house full of music. For some people it's watching movies, or it's drawing, just scribbling shit, or being in nature. For you, kind of, where did you sit in the discovery of your creativity?
So I was, my dad brought me this stereo. I was 10. It was for my 10th birthday. It was like, I thought it was the bee's knees. It was the biggest stereo I've ever seen. Like back when I was younger, like we still had those box TVs that, you know, didn't have remotes. So getting a big stereo at 10 was like pretty big. Remember
those TVs. Mum and Dad had a remote.
Yeah.
It was called Two Kids.
But yeah, like I when I was younger, like I had a bad past that like I don't remember too much about my childhood because like I had literally just blocked everything out. But music was the only thing that saved me, and it was that stereo at that point that made me like, okay, like but I did do like I remember my nana used to listen to a lot of country, so I was brought up with country music.
Oh wow!
And I used to always be in the back singing like Blue Misty Mountains with my sister and Shania Twain. Like love Shania Twain.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, so I was brought up like with the music, like always in the car, and but then when I got that stereo, that really helped me zone in to like this passion, and not even care about what else was going on. And yeah, music literally saved my life, and the dream of it. So it really came with a dream. When you find a passion, you add a dream to it. That's what. Really, that's when I knew, like, okay, I love music. And just sitting next to that stereo every day, and because Dad would get me, like, I think it was Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston was always playing. So that's what I was sitting next to and just
amazing.
Yeah, that was my upbringing of music.
Yes.
And so it's weird listening to it, the albums now, and you're just like, wow, I know all these words. It's because I'd imprinted, like, and forced myself so deep into music that. It's embedded in me now. And like, so that's where I started doing the envision thing. So like I would see myself doing things. Like I'd see, so I'd want to, like, well, I do it now. I'll see myself, okay, I'm doing this on stage. I can feel I'm doing this, and this is how the audience feels, like just like a dance performance or something.
Oh, right, sure.
I'm creating it in my mind. I see it, and then I'll make it. So it happens.
When you were listening to the music, was that sort of really the first time that you kind of got that razor focus, where the entire world around you disappears, and you go, the lyrics to these songs are the only things that are my world at the moment?
Yeah.
Do you think, because your creative journey has been very eclectic and interesting and very eclectic. As we were talking about before, you're someone that likes a lot of process, right? Do you think that process came from that razor sharp focus and that discipline? You know, you're envisioning these things in your head, and you're going, I'm not going to think it, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, so there's another thing, is like discipline is something I learned really, really early. So like I've got this whole life of marching when I was a kid, right from, I think I might have been like 6 right up until 12. And like I see photos, but I don't really remember it. But all I remember is that like we're so drilled as kids.
Yeah,
We're like
yeah.
screamed at, like, you know, you can't move. Like one
Yep.
of the things we did was like one of the displays was 20 minutes of standing. You're not allowed to smile, no emotion.
Yeah.
And it's just, you've got to stay real still. And so all of these things, like standing up straight, our posture had to be perfect, our hands,
Yeah.
our fingers, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned just the discipline from that, and I became the leader, and I was a leader for 4 years, and I
Wow.
actually got fourth leader in New Zealand when I was 12 years old at a massive event in Nelson.
Holy shit.
It was like,
And this is for marching band stuff.
yeah,
Wow.
like this is the leader, so
Yeah.
I was leading my team, and I've seen like photos of like me holding the trophy, and then everyone's in there like, you know, but yeah, like to do something like that at 12, I really had to be just so focused.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know, like I never would have done that if I had to shut the whole world out around me. So yeah, it was music, and it was just that. It was,
Yep.
you know, be good at this. You're gonna, you know, you're not gonna fail.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I remember memorizing sheets of just numbers, because when you've got all these, so they empty this huge field, and they've got all these people up on these big stilts, and they look down on you when you're marching,
Okay.
so they can see that your feet have landed on all these discs that are out, and it's like the size of a rugby field.
Wow.
And it's,
okay.
yeah, it's real intense.
That's discipline.
And it's like, you're so nervous, like all these people are relying on you. If you get one, like just one beat out,
yeah.
you fail the whole team. So yeah, like they've got all these random plates all measured out perfectly, so every step you take has to be perfect.
Oh, right.
It has to be a perfect you know, measurement in between your feet, so that you can reach each plate. And yeah, I came fourth, and these were up against like adults and seniors, and I was,
That's a
pretty
lot of
out there.
pressure for a 12-year-old, man.
Yeah. I remember one time though, I froze on. I went to go walk on, and I just stopped, and I just froze, and I couldn't remember anything. Everything was just like completely wiped, and it must have been. I must have had a little bit of an episode beforehand about something, and and I remember my coach walked on, and she was like, "Attention!" And she was like yelling, and I was just like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Okay.
And then she was like, "Quick!" Like turn us around. She's like, "Quick march off the and she just like drilled us, well me, because it was my fault. But yeah, that was pretty intense.
That sounds
never did that again.
Yeah.
Never made that mistake.
I can see why you left at 12.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck it, I'm at the top of my game.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. My little sister, she ended up being a leader at 5. Because she was, I think she must have been so inspired by her big sister, like
My
doing
big
all this.
sister's amazing.
But yeah, the uniforms are really cool though, and my nanny used to sew them and stuff.
Oh, that's very cool. So I guess sort of you between the ages of 12, you're at intermediate at this point, right? And then you kind of make that segue to high school. High school's not easy for everyone.
No, it's not.
It's
it really
not.
Isn't.
It isn't. Are you sort of doing anything creative at high school at this stage, or is like, because obviously you've got your music, and that's going to be the constant kind of through your life, right?
Yeah.
You've done the marching. You've, as a 12-year-old, almost hit the apex of it. And then you hit high school. Are you doing anything creative at this point? Or are you just like, nah, no one gets me?
I tried music. Like I tried music.
Playing music?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried bass guitar at school. And I always wanted to sing, but because of like how my school was quite hard. So if you stood out in any way, you would just get bullied or like put down, you know, you would get targeted.
Tall poppy syndrome, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like, don't say anything, just keep your head down and just, do your work. So that was me. I just didn't do anything at high school because I just didn't feel comfortable.
Okay.
I was too scared to get bullied more than I already do. But yeah, I didn't do anything. I was just went home and sang. I never stopped singing at home. Just go straight home.
Cool.
Singing, just dive. I've always for as long as I can remember, has always had a stereo or something musical with
Yeah.
me in my room. Then I started dancing. I was dancing in my room as well. And at primary school we did a lot of dancing, embarrassing dancing.
Right. Some of the good times. I haven't progressed much from my primary school dancing years, funnily enough.
Yeah, I experienced dancing. So I used to go to school out at Whananaki. So
Oh, lovely.
That's where I grew up.
Man, beautiful out there.
Yeah, and so I lived out there in a little tiny batch with a long drop, and yeah, that was really cool. I lived like right in front of the beach, so that was really cool. And yeah, so I grew up in Whananaki, and then I moved into town with Mum. And when I started school at Tōtara Grove, I think I was there for maybe...
That's Tiki Way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so... and I did dancing with my friends because we'd always like get groups together and jump on stage and do dances for school assemblies. And I don't know why, but like the teachers would just let us do anything. And I don't know if you remember that song, I'm horny, that one. Well,
how did the rest of the lyrics
primary
go?
school, we were dancing to that. It was so, oh my gosh. I don't know. I want to know, like, what were the teachers thinking when their students get up on stage and they're, like, thrusting, like, doing some really out there moves? Like, that was...
You know what, nowadays there's, twerking and the Anaconda song, and there's, I don't even know what WAP means, and I don't even want to think.
Yeah, we didn't even, obviously we didn't know what that word meant.
No.
Like,
I'm horny. Oh my God, it's the greatest chorus ever.
Oh, but yeah, it was either so I grew up with Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys at primary school. So
yes,
I have such a good childhood of music.
Boy band and girl band era. So amazing. Yeah. So primary school's really good. Intermediate, okay.
Yeah, that was I think that was a turning point though. I never really I really struggled because of all the bad stuff happening in my life. I really struggled with reading, writing, telling time.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I didn't know actually how to do any schoolwork until I was in intermediate.
Yep.
So that's when I started I learned how to tell the time. I started reading. So I learned really late in life, but I never ever let anyone know that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I was very good at hiding that stuff. I was just very, very good with my hands and creative stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I would always, move into the artwork and like really kind of do really well at that. And sports, very sporty.
Oh, good. What sports?
Just anything. Volleyball, touch, rugby, netball.
So like a lot of physically active sports,
Yeah. Always really good at like all this cross countries. Running.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was really good at that stuff. So that was another little distraction. Like, hey, I'm really good at this, but I'm really bad at this.
Yeah. It's like I can do these two things amazing. This one, and I know it's important.
Yeah.
But not so much. But I don't need it because I'm going to be a superstar.
Yeah, so that was my life. It was okay, but I started learning things.
Yeah, okay.
And it was kind of like my eyes started opening at intermediate with people and trusting people.
Yeah, sure.
And making friends, real friends too.
Not just ones that get up and dance to I'm horny.
No.
No, okay.
No, it's not a friend. You're supposed to tell your friend not to do that.
Friends tell friends not to dance to I'm horny. Okay.
Oh gosh, we had no idea.
But then you get to high school, and it's kind of you've gone from schooling at primary school where it's quite fun, light, and easy, to intermediate where it becomes a little bit more challenging because you realise there's things that you're behind on from other students, and then you kind of get to high school, and then that's almost itself another turning point as well, right? Because you leave early, and I think this is the part where it's going to get really interesting because you leave at 16 to be a model.
Well, I didn't plan it like that. I never plan life. Like life just comes to me.
I'm very curious to hear the story of how one goes from being a 16-year-old I hate high school student to, let me just quickly reads notes. Working with countless photographers, featuring in multiple magazines, 3 years for New Zealand Fashion Week, modelling for Trelise Cooper, World Industries, and many more. So, how do you go from whangarei to that? Because I'll be honest, those two worlds are quite different.
Yeah.
They're kind of light years apart.
I think it might have been, okay, so at 12 again. So when I left marching, my grandmother put me into a course. It was a 2-day course. Sorry, 2-day
Okay.
course. It was like $4,000. Because I must have been really quiet, but she put me in. It was like taught confidence, acting, modeling, self-presentation.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know, I don't know why they put me in that, but it was life-changing.
Yeah.
I went in as
yeah.
this quiet person and then came out like just feeling so confident I could do
Yeah.
anything, because they really threw a lot at us in those 2 days.
There'd be a lot to pack in there.
Yeah, they did. And it was quite weird being in whangarei, where you don't get to see that professional like castings and things like that. You don't get
definitely.
to. And like Sonia Gray, she was from Shortland Street, came up,
Yes.
and she taught us. So I got to meet and work with a Shortland Street actor when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then you walk away with your modelling diploma after that. And so that was, I think, and then after that, Mum put me into the Look. There was the Look. They used to have...
The Look?
Yeah, it's a pageant for kids or like just students in whangarei, and they used to have it like every year. And I went into, like, I must have done it two times.
Okay.
The first time she forced me. It's like,
okay.
The second time we went in, I got best runway model, and I came second, I think. I always come second at things. And so I went into that and I rubbed shoulders with people, and because after the confidence course, I was able to just talk to people and meet people, and there was this one lady called, her name was Caroline, and she was the owner of Nova Models and Talent in Auckland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was one of the judges. So she would come up from Auckland and sit in the judging panel, and she would scout models for Auckland.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was never one of those people that got, scouted down there. But afterwards, I was like, this is the last year I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go and introduce myself. And so I walked up to Caroline and I shook her hand and I was like, hi, I'm Rachel Diamond. And and she was like, yes, I noticed you. You're a really good catwalk model. And we had this conversation, and she's like, come and see me down in Auckland. And I'd just love for you to come down and see what we could do with you. And I was like, okay. So that was really cool. I think I must have been like 15 at that point, because that was the last time I was in the Look. Yeah. And it was 15. So I was modeling in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went I did get bullied at school. I really hated it.
I think a good chunk of us did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, it
wasn't fun.
It was getting to the point where I was too scared to go to school. So I just said to Mum, I'm leaving. I'm not going back. And she said, well, if you're gonna leave, you have to have a job. So I got 2 jobs. One working at Arthur's Emporium with my nana with materials. Yeah, I learned how to sew and make curtains with Nana. It was really, really cool. I learned heaps there. And it was a really good family there too. I love them. Still love them. Love going in there. And I also got just noticed as a model, like just local people, photographers, and I started doing that stuff. And then I went down to Auckland and I signed with Nova Models. Yeah. Started like from there, like from 16 to 19. I started at 15 but like it was 16 when it got really
Yeah,
serious.
that's when it kind of becomes like a job, eh?
Yeah. And so that's when I moved down.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and moved in with my beautiful family, my dad's older sister.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd stay there and then go to castings from her house.
Wow.
And it was intense. Like I had, I think one of the first jobs I came down for, well, I literally just took off gumboots because I was at like out Whananaki, we were on the farm, and then my auntie, my mum's twin sister, I was always on the farm with her.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know how to like do my hair or things like that. So I just never brushed it. I just left it, and it like kind of turned it into this dready mess all the time. And so like I went down there and in my warehouse clothes, and like I think I had like jandals on. Like when I went into this like Nova Models, that was like my first kind of, like it was an introduction to like modeling.
Yeah.
And so all these models, like all these beautiful models from Auckland, all come into Nova Models, the agency, and I roll in with the stripy dress that's like, or the skirt that's like all cut in different angles, and I've got like these jandals on, my hair isn't brushed, like I don't have any makeup on, like all these girls know how to do makeup, and I roll in and I'm just like, I've got a singlet on and everyone's got these high heels and they're like, skin tight jeans and how models are supposed to look. And then she told us to take some heels, and so like I had these like hoary ass heels, and
Hoary ass
heels. And then she's like, okay, so we're here to train you guys in this catwalk modeling. Rachel, can you put on your shoes and show all these girls how to walk?
What?
And I was like, these guys look really professional and you're getting me to do this. And so I just did it, and they got me to walk and watch. They watched, and it was because you get those like when you walk into like Auckland and you do look like that, you get looked at like, like don't stand next to her.
Who's the heck girl?
That was me. And I remember I had like regrowth. I think must have put dye in, and my regrowth had grown like right down to here. It was, oh gosh, it was bad. But I ended up going straight from that catwalk practice into NZ Fashion Week. I think I was 16 when my first did my first catwalk, and I remember had the regrowth, didn't brush my hair, just showed up. Like I look at the photos like, man, I pulled that off. I can't believe it.
Brilliant.
And so my first really cool relationship with a designer was Sally Ridge.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's so cool. She was really inviting and just loving person, such a cool person. And she made me be one of the she put me on first. So I was the
lead model?
The lead model.
Oh, shit.
Asia Rock.
Yes, I know Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
not personally, but yeah.
So Asia Rock was, we had a C catwalk where you come out on both sides and then cross over and then turn.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so I came out on the first one, she came on the second, and we both walked out together, and that was my first catwalk ever. So I know it's pretty random. Like this heck girl comes along and this amazing model. And so, we did the whole, and it was all lingerie. And that photo there got onto the Women's Day. And so when you've got like all of the fashion weeks happening all at once, you get like all of the photos from all over the place, like Milan and New York. And so everyone's got, in New Zealand had a page, and my photo was the biggest on there.
Wow.
From that one catwalk, and it was bigger than all the other models, and I had like, it was just crazy. I lost that magazine, but I would love to see it again. But I remember, so all of the Victoria's Secret models, their photos were tiny, and then you've got my one there. I'm like 16 with the regrowth and like all these probably bad pimples as well. But and I was crazy. It was mental. But from then it was just like photo shoot, catwalk, and there was just so many, like I was in places I didn't even know existed. I remember one catwalk that I did. I think I must have been like 18, and he was a New Zealand designer that went over to Milan and he made himself big, and I really wish I could remember his name, but he came over, and he was presenting these massive wedding dresses that were so stunning that like back then, like it was a lot of money to have like a $50,000 dress on.
Oh, dare I say it's still a lot of money. Yeah. Still a lot of money.
And so he had his 3 models that were there to wear these wedding dresses.
Yeah.
And like I'm just sitting there eating all the food. And so he put me in one of those wedding dresses. He actually said, "Oh, I don't want her anymore. You, like in the back, come here. I want that. Put that on now." And so I was just like, put this big wedding dress on. It was mental.
One of the organisations that proudly supports the Northland Artists Conversation is Creative Northland. I'm going to take just a moment to talk to you guys about it. Creative Northland have been absolutely vital in helping this project get off the ground through its infancy and all the way through to where we are now. We couldn't have done what we've done without their assistance. What we suggest is that if you're a creative person and you haven't heard of Creative Northland, we highly recommend that you reach out to them. Creative Northland, simply do a Google search. They're the top result. These guys are wonderful. They're all creatives in their own way, and they're all very, very well respected throughout the industry that they work in. They're very hardworking, absolutely committed and dedicated to helping the creative people throughout Northland, whether it be through simple things like starting up a project, all the way through to putting on like an exhibition, for example, all the way through to working out how they can start turning what they do into a business. It's all free advice. They give really, really good guidelines and helpful assistance to make sure that you, as a creative, are able to get the most out of what you do. Creative Northland, highly recommend them. Check them out. So when you're doing this modelling, and you've gone from being a regrowth girl to being a lead model, modelling alongside legendary record producer Bob Rock's daughter, Asia, in that, and then are you flying all around the world at this point?
No, they did want me to. Well, I had so much work in Auckland. Like I was just
really
always, yeah.
You're always booked, right?
Yeah, I was always booked.
Yeah.
And I was a regular model for Trelise Cooper, so I was always any show that she had on, I had to be there.
Yeah.
And yeah, gosh, what was I gonna say before? So I ended up at in like warehouse I'll go back to that the guy from Milan who brought those.
Milan, the wedding dress guy.
It was the most stunning. I'd never been in a catwalk show where they had mats. So like it must have been a rug warehouse, and they had rugs piled up, and it was like this massive warehouse, and they just had heaps and heaps of rugs, and those are people's like seats, so they sat on the rugs.
On the rugs.
Yeah, while we walked down in between these rugs, and there was like this really huge catwalk. But yeah, I really got a lot of heat from the model that I took that dress from. I didn't mean to take the dress.
You didn't intentionally do it, right? No. You didn't. It's not like you went, "Oh, look, she's wearing the wrong color lipstick with that dress."
Yeah, well, my mind frame was going down, and I'm like, I'm not like as good as these guys, Yeah. I'm just like this normal person from Whangarei, and I'm just sitting here and eating my no lunch that I forgot to bring, starving, because I was a really big eater too, so that was really hard for my brain to even function when we hardly ever got fed, and
so that those things are true.
Yeah. But we did get pizza one time. That was amazing. Can't remember where that was. So it was.
Wow.
I just really wish that I, because it was so fast and I was everywhere all the time meeting all these people, it was really hard to remember all these people at such a young age.
Yeah, sure.
You meet this person, you never see them again.
Because this is all happening in your teens, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I learnt so much, it was all so drilled into me, and because I was really good at remembering numbers and things like that, so anything I taught I was taught. It was just like a sponge.
Yeah. Was imprinting in you straight away.
Yeah. So the amount of makeup artists, hairstylists, other models, actors, like all these people that, you know, we got to meet and we were learning things from, I was picking all this up.
Wow.
And so, yeah, by the time I was like 21, I was like, had all this information that I didn't even know that I could use. Yeah, so that was really intense. There was a couple of fashion shows that were like a bit of a disaster. I remember, where is it? I can't remember where it is, but when you're coming into Auckland and you're finally coming into like all the buildings and stuff, and there's this one brick building. I think it's a restaurant. It's like on the left side as you're coming down into Auckland, and it's on the left side and it's kind of on a hill, and it's got an all outdoor area. I can't remember the name of it, but we had a fashion show on that hill, on the rooftop.
Oh wow!
And there was just like lights everywhere.
Yeah.
All the cameras flashing and stuff. But the thing is, a lot of the fashion shows, they didn't actually plan what you were wearing. They just like, okay, yeah, put that on. Yes, okay, yeah, you're naked. Here's some material. So that's exactly how it was for me. Just, oh yeah, material, great. And so I got given shoes that were too big, these boots, and they like were slippy offy ones. So they were just, I had to clench my toes. It was the longest catwalk ever done too. I think it was 60 meters long. It was
60 meters,
stupidly long. I was so buggered by the end of it. And they, because we're nude underneath all of these clothes, and they just gave me this like robe jersey. Like it was a long sleeve black robe jersey, and all I had was this piece of like rope that held the whole thing together.
Yep.
And so I'm like, sweet, yeah, okay, I've done this before. Just go out and wear it and make it look good. So yeah, halfway down the runway, my shoes start coming off. So I'm clenching these toes like crazy. And then the rope came completely loose and just opened. So I grab it, like hold it together, and I'm holding it like I'm like,
I mean this.
Yeah, like I'm boss, I'm here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like went and posed at the end, and like I'm like so pissed off because I'm like, my outfit's coming off, like you guys haven't dressed me properly, and like it was the best photo I've ever taken, and it was just like this angry face, like
the girl boss moment.
Yeah, it was so boss moment, but yeah, that was freaky. Like it's the longest catwalk as well. So like I'm holding on for dear life in the longest catwalk I've ever done. And then another one was for World Industries. So it was the back of Queen Street, and there's that top piece, and they made the road, the catwalk.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we walked. So everyone was supposed to be out on the roads, like viewing, but because it was pouring down with rain.
No.
They had to all be crammed inside.
Yeah.
But they had set up all the camera crew outside because they couldn't fit all the camera crew. So we still had to go outsid and do this
in the rain.
In the rain. It was boss. So we had to go up. We went upstairs, and then so we walk through everyone, and then outside we get handed an umbrella sometimes. And then we walk and we take photos out on this road with all these photographers covering the road. And they had run out of models that were on the catwalk, and I'm still sitting here. I'd finished all my outfits.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need someone out there. We need something. And then this lady just said, hey, put that on and go. And it was just this piece of like material.
Yeah.
It was full see-through.
Yeah.
I had no bra. And so I chucked it on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I gotta do. Yeah. And so like I walk out, and I've got this piece of material. It wasn't even like an outfit that they were supposed to put on, but I ended up walking down the road, and they took this photo, and it was...
Please tell me you had an umbrella.
No, I didn't have an umbrella. But later I found...
Sorry, I can just imagine it. You walking out on the road, it raining. You're wearing this thing that looks like a piece of glad wrap.
All I had was like tan undies underneath, because that's what you had to wear. It was like black, white, or you know.
You'd have been pissed.
Yeah. And so like I was like, I'm just going to make this work because I've been told what I got to do. And so, yeah, I ended up finding that photo on the front cover of L'Oreal magazine in the chemist. I'd never even seen like photos of that outfit.
That's
it's
insane.
Not even an outfit. I bet you they didn't even sell it in the shop. It was just a piece of random material.
Yeah. Here's an offcut from something.
Yeah, it was. It was just, it was an offcut. And yeah, I was just looking for some like makeup.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grabbed it and I was like, wait, that's me. That's me.
Yes.
And then I'm like, hey, lady, this is me. Like I'm on the front cover. And yeah, that was mental. Again, yeah.
Oh,
Pretty crazy.
Now, for people that are sort of listening to these stories, they'll be like, your life must have been so hard. Walking up and down in designer clothes. How did you cope? By the way, if you're listening to this podcast, I said that with a large amount of sarcasm. I apologise. But there's actually more to it than that, isn't there? Like there's a regiment, and you have like restrictions placed on you, right?
Yeah. So
it's tough.
yeah.
And I think we can. Do you want to leave it at that, or do you want to?
No. So like I was told that I had to like go to the gym, and I had to start looking after my like eating healthy and stuff. Well, what they didn't know is that I never ate healthy. I always was at McDonald's or like, and no one could ever tell me what to eat. And no one, I don't like sharing food either.
Yeah.
So like I was,
That's your cheeseburger,
pizza was,
and that's it. Yeah.
And like I'd go home back to my family, and my Uncle Warner would have, he would always have like this big Tongan feast for me, and like I was so starving after all of these jobs, and the thing, like there was a lot of waiting around too, so like in between jobs, like I didn't I wasn't driving. I was only a teenager, so I'd have to wait in between shows, and like I didn't have money. Like most of my money went on like petrol to get down there and back.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
So I was always starving at the end of it, so I'd come back and eat like crazy, and it was just I loved my family so much down there. They're so amazing. And yeah, so I did at one point, I got quite a few contracts overseas. I turned them down because I was like, there was no chaperone that was coming with me. I didn't know.
You're how old at this point?
So my first one was at 16.
Wow.
Yes, I got one.
Okay.
I think it was China. They wanted me to fly over there. There was no way I was doing that.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
Okay. Pretty sure that's how trafficking happens.
Yeah, well, that's like... I don't even know what I was scared of, but yeah, I was just not going. And then I think my next one was, I got a couple. So there was Kuala Lumpur, and then I got another one in Australia when I was 19. And they said, Kuala Lumpur, they were like, okay, you got this contract. It's a very, very big contract. It's a lot of money, but you will need to start going to the gym and eating healthier.
Salads. And
I was so skinny. Like, I look at photos and I was just, no, there's no way that I'd want to be that skinny again.
Wow.
So when they told me to lose weight, and because I had met, like it was an off agency, so there was a couple of guys, and they dealt with international models.
Oh, okay, right.
So I had to have a meeting with them, with my family, because they wanted to let us know about all these contracts that I was getting over there. And as soon as they told me that, I was like, Nana, take me to BK.
Nothing says family love.
She's
like a double
let's
whopper.
go to BK. How dare they tell you to lose weight?
Yeah. Now, you were in the industry for 5 years, and it was 5-6 years?
Yeah. So, like, I was in and out. So when I got a bend-on contract. Oh, yeah, so like I did like FHM, heaps of magazines and stuff like that. I kept working down there. And then the last contract I got was to be the bend-on model, like back when it was like really big and it was coming out.
Oh,
like underwear.
Elle Macpherson, Intimates and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I got that contract. Okay. That was, and also Just Jeans. No, JJ's. No. Wait, what's the other one? Levi's. So I got the Levi's campaign
That's
as well.
That's a huge brand.
I know, it was huge. And so, yeah, that was really exciting. But then I had my first boyfriend. I was like 20, 21. Yeah, and I found out that I was pregnant with my first daughter.
Aww.
So I was like, everything deserves a chance to grow.
Yeah,
Let's do this. And yeah, everyone Mum was really excited. So I ended up I knew how tough and hard they were already on models.
Oof.
And so I was just over the pressure.
Yeah.
I'd done so much and I was happy with what I had achieved. And so, yeah, I was like, shit, I'm going to be a mum now. So, yeah, that was when my journey of being a mum came.
Well, it's really interesting that you go from marching, which is very structured, drill-orientated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, do your time, through to modelling, which is almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's a different type of pressure. And in some ways, the stakes are a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because, marching, it's not as... Now, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It's not as high profile as modelling. You march and you're like, oh, I made these people upset. You trip over on a runway at like a big fashion show. You're like, oh my God, did you see that girl? What a loser. And you can essentially kill your career right there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you went from one thing that was super high pressure and then you went, fuck it. And then you do this other thing that's just as high pressure and then you go, fuck it.
Yeah.
And then you become a mum.
Yeah. And then I'm like, fuck no.
And you're like, fuck it. And that's how I raise kids. But so you're now, obviously you've had this love of music that's kind of the whole way through, and even with modelling and catwalk stuff, there's music playing, right?
Yeah.
So music's always very much the constant thread of your life. What sort of, you go, right, I'm done with modelling, I'm going to be a mum. What are you thinking about doing creatively from that point onwards then? Because, a full-time mum's a full-time mum.
Yeah, well, I just kind of found my passion again for singing and dancing. And,
Excellent.
Straight after I had Ada, I started dancing again and at home and just like in my own vibe, but I didn't go out and dance anywhere. But I started painting and decorating again. So throughout all of that happening, I was, I held other jobs just so that I could model as well.
Yeah,
so I had money to get down there and pay for food. So yeah, I was, when did I start? So I took a trip down to my auntie at 16 in between all that, and she taught me how to paint houses. So
Okay.
that became my trade throughout all of that. So that was like when I wanted to work, I'd just go and paint houses.
Are you a certified painter?
Yeah.
That's
been painting for 16.
That's crazy. Fashion model. If you need a lick of paint done on your house.
And another job, another job that I had was doing roadworks too. So I did roadworks, and I was 18, I remember, because I was the lollipop girl. And
good money.
At the same time, FHM came out. So because I was modelling at the same time. So
was that awkward?
No, it was quite exciting that the fact that I was grounded in
Yeah.
this really cool job with, my uncles that are like, hard workers and stuff. And then I've got like this FHM rolling around and my dad's like, everyone at work, look at my daughter. It's like, shot dad. This is my daughter. Look at her. Okay, this is awkward.
Yeah.
This is your daughter. Yeah.
So you're in the full clothes and the fluorescent, and that's you. Okay, all right then.
Yeah, and I remember my family seeing me oh, there's Rachel on the side of the road, but yeah. So there was always I was always working as well, trying to get money into that. But yeah, so where was I?
It's okay. I imagine that doing trades and real blue collar jobs would have kept you very humble. As you said, very grounded.
Yeah.
Because you're not. Oh no, I don't know why I thought of it, and I apologise in advance. Have you seen the film Zoolander?
Yes.
You know the scene where Derek gives up modelling and then he goes to work in the coal mines with his father.
Oh, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie.
I almost envision it like that, where Derek Zoolander walks in. He's like looking buff like a male model, and he's like swinging the pickaxe. And he's like lifting up this tiny rock, putting it in.
Oh yes, I remember that scene.
I picture something similar to that.
Yeah.
You're getting your humbleness there. And Derek Zoolander sits at the bar going, I think I've got the black lung, pup. But once you get... Producer Andrew's just shaking his head going, I don't understand this guy sometimes.
Way to digress.
Thank you. Well, look, it's okay for the guest. So you step out of modelling, you start taking up singing again, and your daughter...
Yeah, Ada
is kind of growing up with you. When do you make that transition into, acting and singing and musical theatre and makeup artistry? Because obviously those are sort of the next steps of your life, right? That's the next part of your creative journey.
Yeah, I think I might have been 22 or 21 or 23 when I so I was painting.
Yeah.
Another thing too was when I was learning how to paint at 16, I was also farming at the same time. That's where I think a lot of my work ethic came from.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I moved in with my auntie down there, and
Yeah.
she brought a house for $1,000. It was a 3-bedroom house in Oropuki, which is about an hour away from Invercargill. On the coast.
Yeah.
Yes, freezing.
Yes.
And so I moved in with her. It's got no walls. It's all paper. Yeah, newspaper for the walls, and like when it was windy and it was long drop for a toilet, no power, so I had to light fires and stuff just to cook and heat the hot water so that we could have a shower after farming and
Sure.
painting. So it's it was really like
you're taking those experiences, and it's really sort of going, well, you know what?
Once you're down there, you're fucked. You can't get out. You know, it's like, but it's also it kept me like hard working. I remember like our tank water was so paru. We had our drinking water was like going a bit like yellow, and it tastes a bit metally. And so like my uncle's real rough as, so cool, and it's like, she'll be alright, so just keep drinking this water, and he's like, I should probably go and check it, so we went and checked. There's a dead possum rotting in our water, and we're just like, oh yeah, that's why it tasted disgusting. But yeah, it was really rough living down there, which I love looking back to. And I grew up like with long drops, like, you know.
Well, those are the formative years, right? That's where it's where you start figuring out who the hell you are.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously going from a long drop and the flappy walls, and the dead possum drinking water,
to the Sky Tower and modelling for Dior. Yeah,
that's
$70,000 shoes. That was crazy. They were only size 6s. They didn't fit me.
Yeah, but it's a night and day difference.
Yeah,
and like a lot of people, you could have quite easily fallen into the trap, and the trappings that come with that sort of lifestyle, because it can be absolutely consuming.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I'm getting all of this attention.
I loved food too much to be a model. I think that's what the turning point was for me, is I'm not allowed to eat food. Like, you can't tell me to not eat food.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm going to wear Coco Chanel and that cheeseburger.
yes I am.
So you moved back to Whangarei, and you've got your
daughter.
Your daughter.
Yeah, and so I was painting, and I met a few people like just at different jobs, and one of them was a really cool friend, Megan. She's a photographer.
Okay.
So we met at the Benina Awards. So I was a model for my cousin.
The Benina Fashion Awards. They're having those again this year, which is cool. Yeah.
So my cousin, she was coming out of high school, and she had put this outfit together. It was so amazing. Like, she's so talented, Lily. And she had made this tutu. Like, it was way out here. And
oh wow.
Yeah, and she even did my hair and makeup and stuff. And yeah, I I walked on there, and Megan, she was taking the photos.
Yeah.
And she actually contacted me because there were fans out there that wanted to know who I was and wanted me to do more jobs for them. And then that's how I got to meet her. And then we found out, like, she found out I was a painter. So, like, I started painting with her. It was quite random, but and then she was like, oh, if you want some work, we're going to be doing a burlesque show at the old library, and we need bartenders.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll come and watch. And I didn't know how to bartend. I've never done anything like that. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just there like, okay.
Yeah.
Just to wear the outfit. So, yeah, I did a really horrible job at bartending. But when I saw the performances on stage, I was like, oh, I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I can definitely do that. And then I said to Megan, do you guys take anyone else on? And she's like, oh, yeah, we've got some auditions coming up. And so I spoke to so one of my friends, Vincent, gosh, he's so inspiring. He's like been such a solid like mentor or somebody that I really look up to. And he really helped me with like performing. And so, yeah, like he said to me, like, you have to audition, like, do it.
Yeah.
And girl, sing this song. So he was like, and he like, he played Speechless by Beyonce, and he's like, can you just learn this song? And I was like, I really connected with it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right. So I went away and learned it. And I caught up with another friend, Winnie, who he was also friends with. And I said, can you play the guitar to this? Like, the electric guitar. He's like, yeah, sure, yeah, I could do that. And so we both went in, we practiced it, and then we both went in and we auditioned, and their faces, like, after like the audition, they were like,
yeah.
It was so funny. And I was like, you right?
Yeah.
Like,
what's the feedback here?
Yeah.
Do you have some notes?
And one of the girls on the Charlie, she looked at me, she's like, are you lip syncing that, or is it just a track played? And I was like, I sang it? And Megan's like, she sang it. So it was like a real funny moment. And they're like, yeah, do that on stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that was the very first song that I ever sang on stage, was Beyonce Speechless. Yeah.
So you after the jaw-dropping performance that you give for your audition, where everyone's like, wow, she actually did all of that.
Yeah.
You're in. And you're off and running from that point onwards.
Yeah.
And where does that journey take you? Because your bio lists so many other things that you've kind of done along the way, and you've picked up so much.
Yeah. There's been times where I'm like, I don't even know how I'm doing this. This is just so much. Like, I'm doing so much right now. I'm so busy. But I did the first show with the Northern Dolls Burlesque Cabaret.
Yeah.
And I met, like, it was just like a family. Like, I'd never met a group of people that I connected with so much. Like, they just
cool.
They just felt like it was. Yeah, I'm so lucky to have even met them. And so Nicole was, she was very, like, with the structure of things, she was like our main burlesque, like, classic feather fans. And
yes,
she always blows my mind. And now she's blooming pole dancing, and she's like got these guns that'll like shoot you like dead. It's put those guns away, Nicole, like, you're just gonna kill somebody with those. She's so amazing. I'm like, I don't think she realizes how amazing she is, but yes, I'm just in awe of her every time she performs. And yeah, her art is just down to a T. But I also met Charlie, who's like a massive inspiration. I performed a lot of duos with her as well, and
cool.
She gave me a lot of confidence on stage.
Yep.
And she really helped me step onto the stage. And yeah, just like she always fills people's cups.
Yeah.
Like if you're feeling even slightly down, she'll make sure that you're not feeling down. Like you're going to feel amazing after like talking to me. And she does that. She's just absolutely amazing human. Sarah, like, oh my gosh, she's like the peak of confidence. She gives people confidence just by watching her perform. And she felt like family too. She's reminds me of my own family. And then we've got Kelly, who was like the mum of the group. She was like the comedian. She'd dress up as the old lady and like deliver all like those rude jokes that would make everybody laugh. And she was like our glue that stuck everyone together. But so I got to perform with them and I learned so much. I met some amazing people along the way just by being in their group. We did lots of performing and we toured as well, Northland.
Oh, wow.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was
very cool.
It was amazing. It was just epic. So I was finally able to put what all my, like, because my one thing that has really like started as a young age was my imagination. My imagination is very vivid.
Yeah.
And that's how I create things, and that's how I found out that I could do that. And the Northern Dolls, that's what they taught me that. So anything I imagined, I could put it there.
You can make happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
On stage. And then so we would have themes and stuff, and so we'd go off the theme and be like, okay, let's create this.
Wicked.
And our coolest one I remember was Gladys is her name. That's Kelly's character on stage.
The alter ego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the story was it was called The Little Black Book. And so her husband dies and she's going through all his stuff and she opens up this chest and it's got this book and she opens it up and it's got all these sexy ladies in it. And she's like, he's never told me about all these ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And so as she's flicking through them, it starts from the beginning of time. And so like I was the first one, I think I opened the show with Beyonce Baby Boy. It was
oh wow.
So I was doing an Egyptian act where I used these big isis swings, burlesque, belly dancing with all these chains on. And so it goes through all of the years that he meets these people, and you've got comedy acts and you've got burlesque performers and singers, and so our photo would come up she's looking at them in the book.
Yeah, and the photo's on there, so people can
like,
actually see the photo, and then there's the dance that's sort of representing the photo.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah, it was really cool, and that's the one that we toured.
Yeah.
Such a cool show. Really proud of that one with those girls. But and then one day Kelly had a costume shop as well, which was it's like a movie scene, but she would give us costumes, what we'd need for stage, and so she was just around the corner from the Whangarei Theatre Company, and she said, have you ever thought of doing a musical, because you can sing and you can dance, and they've got Chicago's coming out.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, she was like, Chicago, they're doing Chicago and the movie, and I was like, oh yeah. She's like, oh, you should definitely go and audition. So I was just going with it. I was a yes man.
Right, yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, all right, fine. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I just learnt all that jazz. Went in, never acted properly. I'd done advertisements and things like that. So I'd done background acting and things, and on set for Glassons and stuff, but I never never done some real proper acting. Yeah. And so I went in, it was all these people at this table, all these judges and stuff, and I walked in and I did the audition, and I could actually feel what they were feeling behind after I finished singing and that, and they were like, all right, we're going to give you a call back and let you know how it goes. And I'm sure I was like, I can see what you're so Granty was behind there. Grant Smith, love him. He was the director for Chicago. I want to be his child. He's so amazing.
It's like, Grant, can you just adopt me?
Yeah, can you just adopt me, Grant? Yeah. And so I left, and then they called me. Alison called me, and she was like, "Oh, so we just wanted to congratulate you. We've selected you for the lead role of Chicago.
Is that Roxy?
No, Velma Kelly.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, who's that? I was like, who's Velma? And she was like, the lead role. And I was like, is that the Catherine Zeta-Jones part? And she's like, yes, it is. I didn't know musicals. I'd never done like performing arts or anything like that. And so at that point, I'm like thinking, oh God, she must be like, do we really want this person? She doesn't even know who the lead roles are.
Sorry, I cried. You know, the only way it could have gone worse is Velma. Isn't she in Scooby-Doo?
Am I going for the right show? But yeah, that was really intense. I had no idea what nervousness was until I did a show like that. But yeah, Granty was he was so amazing. Like I could see like how like happy he was and so passionate. So it really kind of rubbed off on.
It inspires you, eh? And you always just want to give that little bit more.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. I gave 150% in that show. I just gave everything. That was amazing. It was a sellout show. We couldn't put any more shows on because I think we did the max amount. I think it was 12, and we sold out all of them. And yeah, I think Debbie's been on here.
She has, Debbie Walters-Brown. Yeah, she was amazing. Yeah,
she was in Cell Block Tango with me as well.
Oh, brilliant.
She's amazing person.
She is.
Yeah, really, really talented. And so it was really cool to meet those talented people on there. And oh man, I had no idea. Like I was like, wow, I don't even know. I have no idea what the heck I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me step up. Like it really made me like just. So I was here like thinking I was doing really pretty good. I was doing really well with the girls, but then when it opened me up to acting and like how serious and structured everything was, I was like boom. And then you've got like you meet all these vocal coaches who are like no da. It's I understand you. I speak your language.
It's a discipline, right?
Yeah, so I learned heaps about singing. It really opened everything up, and my projection was able to finally open up.
Yeah.
And so I found out that I was like more of a powerhouse singer than I was, just the quiet singer with all the like agility and stuff. It was pretty mind-blowing.
Well, now it's interesting that we end up on singing. Very rarely, in fact, never, do I bring out my cell phone. And the reason I wanted to is because you emailed Northland Artists Conversation again today, just after lunch. And I think this is important because by the time this podcast goes out, your new song will be out on all the platforms. Now, you sent us a link, which was amazing, DistroKid link, and I had a listen to it, and it's wicked.
Cool, yay.
It is so cool. Yes, because my validation makes your life more complete now. You're welcome.
It does. I'm like, I love it when people they like my music because it means like I'm not delusional.
No, it's seriously really good. It's got such an amazing dance vibe to it, and I'm very curious to know with all of the things that you've kind of learned along the way, and then recently with the acting coaches and the vocal coaches and things like that. What are you? I ask you this. What are you going to do with this career?
I don't know.
Okay.
So like because it always keeps coming back to my singing. Like I've worked in lots of different places. It always comes back to me like performing. I've always end up doing this. Like it's I like also like going through lots of stuff. like growing up with my dad, and that he used to write, like he wrote music too.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
He was part of a band like my whole life.
Yeah.
Like lots of different bands. He even did an album at one point, and so like it just, I felt like he really kind of got that talent from him of like just connecting with music.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize is that so I had to go through like quite a lot a big healing process with like my past. So like it kind of came back, and you've got to go through it all again.
Yeah.
And so I did like a huge healing session in my I think it took 2 years of seeing someone.
Yeah, you go through the adversity.
Yeah.
Then you sort of you get through the other side of it, and then it comes back a few years later.
Yeah.
With the help of someone. Some people need that. That's fine. You can then move through that, and there's healing and forgiveness and all that.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing for me, and I don't know if you've seen it, but you have essentially gone and 180'd everything. And it's an interesting thing to say. The reason I say it is music for you was your escape. You're a way to get out of what was going on in your life. And you move through life later on, and you get to a point where you can heal and you can move forward from it. And it almost seems like you go, I can do that for someone else. I can be that influence.
Yeah.
So you're giving back.
Yeah. So in that time, so after all the theatre shows and stuff like that, I ended up going through that time where I had to really revisit all that, because it actually it forced itself back into my life. So I had to deal with that. So it took 2 years, and in that time, I realised I could connect. So I ended up using music as a way of like venting.
Yes.
So
Certainly done that.
yeah. So I started writing like so I would connect to music and then start writing what I was feeling. So whatever that song was making me feel, I would add those words and just make a story. And so I just would write all the time just to kind of get myself through that time. And I think there was like a time where I was really, really low, and I just didn't see any way out. I couldn't see, like, it was quite dark. And so like I was in my house by myself, and I was listening to this track. It was a beat, like a producer had made this beat, and it was just random. It was like it came up out of the blue on my phone, and so like I was in tears because I just didn't know what the heck I was going to do. And I think my daughter was with my mum at that stage, because I was going through quite a dark time. And I played this track, and I was like, it was water, like it just sounded like water.
Okay.
And I was like, far out, that's cool. And it's got a tune to it. And then the beat hit, the beat dropped, and then I could hear these kids in it singing Eeyore. It was like this kids choir.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time, but Eeyore is actually Māori for God.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I later found that a few years out later down the track.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So, and then all of a sudden I just started writing these. I was like, far, okay. So this is, I can hear myself singing. I can hear it in this, and I can hear, yep, that goes up, and then here's the chorus, and started writing it all down. And it was a message, like I thought I was writing to my daughter.
Okay. Yep.
And I could hear like these kids, and so it was like, you are my dun, dun. It was like you are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Yeah.
It was like along like those lyrics, but it was like, I always love you, and it was crazy. But so like I went, I was in my room, and I had these headphones. It was pitch black, and there was like a little red light on my headphones.
Oh, so yeah, okay.
And so like right when that happened, like I was crying in the dark, and then like so it was pitch black, and I had a pen and paper just sitting next to me. Like I always did that Always have a pen and paper next to my bed in case I need to write something down. Like lyrics always come to me at nighttime, 1:00 usually in the morning, and that's when I wrote that song that's coming out. Is I wrote that at 1:00 in the morning, and it was like it was 10 minutes. Took me 10 minutes to write that one. But I was sitting in the middle of it was in the dark, and I played this song, and like it was weird. Like I just felt this huge heat come over me. It was like this warmth. Yeah. And then like this little red light had completely lit up the whole room, and I could see everything. And so like I had this pen and paper that I could see. And I was like, I'm in the pitch black, but I can see this. Yeah. And so I started writing all of these lyrics, and I wrote it down, in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit. And then it was like two or 3 years later, I found out that what the kids I had written down for the kids to be singing was God. It's E-O-E-O-E-O, E-O-E-O-E-O. Like
That's
it was
unreal.
It's such a cool song, but like I've never actually I haven't recorded it properly because I need those kids to sing that. Everything has to be like structured. Yeah, structured in the song. Or it's just not worth doing. And then like when I reread those lyrics back, it's like God talking to someone, and I'm not religious at all. Like I don't, and for that, that was like a turning point for me. Like pick yourself up, you love someone, like you've got something to live for. Yeah. And that was when I started writing. Yeah. Wow. And I was like, these kids, and I think at the time we were having a lot of deaths from like on the news of children dying and being murdered. And it was really hard to watch. And so that was kind of like a dedication, that song. Yeah.
Now, the new song's called Evil Game.
Very different flip.
Very, very, very clever there on the wordplay. Where are people going to be able to listen to it?
So Spotify.
Yes.
I think it's iTunes.
Okay.
All of the platforms. I think I haven't checked if it's going onto SoundCloud, which my sister wanted me to put it onto. But yeah, it's just so. Like that was another hard thing, was trying to figure out how the process goes.
DistroKid are great for that.
Yeah.
They really are. You just go, here's a song, they go, thank you very much, and then they go, off it goes too.
Yeah.
Really good like that.
Yeah, so I just kind of contacted other artists and said, how did you do this? And so they just get back with me like on their recommendations. So I thought I'll just try it. Like I'll just put it out there and get it. Yeah, finally out there. And I ended up sending it to, I won't mention any names, but I sent it to my friend, and he ended up sharing it with someone from Fat Freddy's last night. And he was like, who is this? How did they do this? Like, and I was like, what? I'm like, what is this? Is this actually happening? And he really likes it. This is so weird. But yeah, and he only had the snippet.
Dare I say it, the Fat Freddy's validation's probably worth more than mine.
I love Fat
That's
Freddy's.
Okay. Don't you dare laugh, producer Andrew.
I try and make it to every concert.
Look, that is super cool that you've been able to turn something that was negative into such a massive positive. Because during dark times, sometimes it can be really hard to flip it around and have that moment. It's
music for me. That's what gets me out. Yeah,
that's it. It's always been music. It turns out.
Yeah,
that is amazingly cool. Rachel Diamond, thank you so much for coming in and sitting down with us on Northland Artists Conversation. This has been an absolute blast. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been great learning so much because as you said, your life, when we were talking before, your life, it's like you've been watching it from the outside going, how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, I still don't know.
So thank you very much for coming in and sharing with us. Cool. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, folks, there you go. Rachel Diamond, as I said at the start, absolutely fascinating podcast. What a life led. Holy cow. 16, not happy at school. What am I going to do? I'm going to go modelling. All right? Well, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do at 16. I'm bloody 48 and still don't really have a clue. I digress, though, producer Andrew. And it's one of those things where, she had that amazing experience and she did that for 5 years whilst, what did she say? She was like a painter? like a house painter, and also working on doing roadworks as well as she called herself the Lollipop Girl, and just unreal. And then moving from there to the birth of her first child, and then sort of doing singing again, and then she just kept moving forward, and it was incredible. And she's got a track that's just come out too, Evil Game, wicked track. She was very gracious enough to send producer Andrew and myself a little snippet, a little advanced copy, and wow, it is really good, really good. So check it out. It's on Spotify, and wherever you stream music from as well. So like Tidal and look, I'll be honest, guys, I don't really do streaming services. Anyway, I'm a boomer. That's what the young kids will call me nowadays. I'm going to throw from my boomer wide to my boomer close-up camera now. What the big thing I got out of the big takeaway I got out of Rachel's podcast was that she has done a lot. 33 years old, and she's like had this massive experience modeling. She's having this massive, she's in the process of beginning a music career. She's doing amazingly well with her acting and musical theatre. She's one of those people that is super creative, and it just happens organically. She doesn't go out and go, I think I want to try this. I wouldn't mind trying that. She goes out and and it's like, hey, would you like to try this? Yeah, sure, why not? And then she kills it. And then it's like, oh, let's do this now. Yeah, okay, I don't have anything better to do. And then kills it. Unreal. Some people, so lucky. Some of us, creatives, struggle, and it's a little bit hard. But, Rachel, I don't hold anything against you. I think it's amazing. I think what you're doing is absolutely brilliant, so keep it going. So, where can you, the listener or viewer, find our glorious and bountiful podcasts? Well, you can find us in a couple of locations. For video, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Northland Artists Conversation. Yes, not .co.nz, just Northland Artists Conversation. For audio, if you enjoy listening to the podcast, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, all Northland Artists Conversation. And if you are a creative person yourself, or if you know of someone who is creative and you think they would be great in the chair, or if you would like to just come sit down, hang out, shoot the breeze, we would love to hear from you. Our email is hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. See, that's the part, producer Andrew, I put .co.nz in. That makes sense. Now, if you've been watching for a while and you're like, yeah, I really love these guys, what they do is amazing, I learn so much, I learn about different artists and the disciplines, or if you're someone that's new and you're like, hey, this doesn't suck, then we also have a Patreon page where you can support us, and we have a couple of tiers. First tier we have is $5 a month, and that is called Cup of Coffee, and that's just a nice way of saying, hey, really appreciate what you guys do. It's really awesome. Essentially, it works out to be like a buck a video. It's honestly so cheap, and it's so worth it. The second tier we have is called Coffee Addict, and that's $20 a month. But you do get some extra specials in there. You get your name as a shout out for supporting us, and the second thing that you get is you get advance notice of who will be coming out. And if there's a question you would like me to ask our guest, I'm more than happy to do that. Just simply post it in the Patreon page, and we can go from there. Now, you can find us one of two ways. First way you can go is to go to Google and just type in Patreon. That's Patreon, top right-hand corner. Log in, create an account, and then find Northland Artists Conversation, all one word, and then pick the tier that you are happiest with. Second way is you can go to, and it'll be down the bottom here, it'll be www.patreon.com/, Northland Artists Conversation. I'm really tripping over my tongue tonight, guys. It's been hilarious. A lot of laughter that came out of today. So yeah, Patreon, we would love to have your support. I'm going to give a shout out to our current patrons at the moment. Lauren Roach, the absolute OG, thank you so much. Michael Boter, all-round good guy, and Maggie Coco, legendary singer. Guys, thank you so much for supporting, and obviously they've all been, not obviously, you guys have also been on the podcast as well, so very, very cool. Thank you for supporting local creative people, really appreciate it. I'm going to flick to my wide again, have a quick cough. So, 'tis the season for cold and flu. No, it's not. Well, sometimes it is, but it's, look after yourself, guys. Make sure that you're doing all the things that you should do to be safe. A lot of rain going around at the moment. Yes, it's winter, but we've had a lot of rain come through recently. So be safe, be careful. Make sure you tune in every week. We always have a new podcast coming out. Super cool. My name is Mark Kelly. On behalf of the Northland Artists Conversation team, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys real soon.